People of God, I thank you for joining me. This is the channel for Amani.Upendo.Wellness. I pray that the Lord has been keeping you in His perfect peace and love. I really wanted to connect with you today. Please like and share and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I would like to connect with you and just really share a serious word with regards to the power of markings. Now, with regards to having markings, like spiritual marks, right? Or even physical ones. They're similar to altars and foundations. They're similar to altars because what it is like the altar signifies that this place, this space is for this purpose or belongs to this. It's a way of saying ownership. And the marks do the same thing. In the world, we hear about books like Harry Potter and he had a mark on his forehead, right? In the Bible, we read about, Cain and what he did to his brother and how he ended up being cursed by God. And he incurred a mark because of that, right? And so that is the power of markings. It can be a physical mark where you'll visibly see it, and also a spiritual thing. And one thing that I've come to learn, a part of my healing came when I understood the power of markings and the fact that markings aren't always going to be just like an altar. It's not going to be always something that you can physically see and know that this is a mark on your life for a reason or, for some reason. But think of it like, with animals, when you have like a dog or something and they go and spray like on a tree, right? It's to show, it's because of the mark. They're trying to mark their territory so that maybe the next time they're on a walk or something, they can go and pee there again, right? So, yeah, the mark is really to show some examples, to show ownership. Some examples, when I think of this cartoon, when I was, trying to really put together this message for you all, it came to me, Pepe Le Pew, any like 90s or any Disney, is it Disney? Or is it Walt Disney? I don't even know. Looney Tunes or something, right? Bugs Bunny and them. So if you know Pepe Le Pew, you know how this man, this skunk, and how he was infatuated with this cat. And I thought it was so strange. Like I always thought it was like supposed to be romantic, like because you would see the cat like running from him and they would always make it cute. But there was one episode in the beginning that was like the genesis of how it happened and what it was that caused Pepe Le Pew. I think you can even look on it, you can find it on YouTube. That's how I saw it. And like, when you look at the reason why the cat would run, it's because the cat, that black cat, that female cat that he was chasing, it's a cat. And when you see it, like even as a kid, not even as a kid, but like even for me, I think it just recently was something that I understood 100% and realized that, wait a minute, that thing there, that female one, it's not a skunk. It was, what happened was there was a black cat that literally walked under a paint can of white paint. And then what happened was the paint was like, the paintbrush wiped on the cat and made a mark on the cat. Going back to the point of this teaching, it created a mark on that cat. So she was a cat, she was a female cat, right? She wasn't a skunk. Even though Pepe was looking for a skunk, a female skunk, she was a cat, a black cat. But because she had gotten a mark, she walked, I don't know what underbridge she walked under. It was something where someone was painting because they were in Paris or something. so I don't know what it was. This is French. I think he's French, right? He's French or something. And he just was infatuated with it because he saw her and he was infatuated with this cat. Because he thought she was a skunk because she had a mark on her. And the funny thing was, and the reason why I felt to bring this up for this message is because she couldn't see the mark. She kind of knew, like when she walked under it, she knew, she could kind of feel that something was different in a way. And she knew that like there was paint on her, but she couldn't get it off. Especially because he was always chasing her. So she never really had a moment to sit and like go wash herself and wash it off. But he could see the mark clearly. And because he could see the black body and then that white line, he just felt like it was he felt she was a skunk and it was a cat. This is the power of markings, right? Another example would also be like the Terminator. In that movie, The Terminator, you know, what was it that caused that man, the Terminator, to follow Sarah Connor around? She was marked. She had a mark, right? And the mark on her life and the mark on the guy, I don't know if it's John Connor or whatever, the mark on those two's life was so intense that even though, well, actually, I think I'm thinking of the more newer version, but I think they didn't really like each other or something, and they knew each other. I think it's a newer version of the Terminator. But my point is that maybe I watched too many movies. But anyways, what's it called? Yeah, so the mark on their life was so strong that even though they were like not really attracted to each other and polar opposites, they were drawn to each other because they were marked. And that's why the Terminator was following her, and it was the Terminator's job to destroy her, but it was John Connor's job to protect her because there was a mark, right? Another example, if you've ever seen Paranormal Activity, they have a movie, these are all things you can look online yourself. There is a Paranormal Activity movie called The Marked Ones. And that, if you are somebody that, I don't know if you watch horror movies or whatever, but that is a prime example of markings, and how in the spirit now, because going back to what I'm talking about, and how in the spirit those markings are so intense. Now here's this guy, I think his name was Hector or something like that, in the movie. And Hector in the movie, he began to experience all sorts of strange, paranormal activities in his life. Him and his buddies, so many crazy different things. There was a death, I think, that happened in their complex. All sorts of strange things happening to poor Hector. And it came to, they even found, I think they even saw a woman. There was a woman, and they were wondering why she was naked and why she was also marked. So they were all having these encounters with some demonic entity because they were marked. And it came to their understanding that there was a woman, I think one of the neighbors or something like that, who had marked them, or marked Hector. And so this is why Hector was the one, out of all of them, he was experiencing it in his life the most. And then at the end, he ended up losing it. He was running around, and I think it was some sort of thing where he was he lost it. And I think he even ended up turning on them because, again, he was marked. So the markings, even in the Bible, we read of how, people are marked, right? And when they're marked, it's to show ownership, similar to like an altar or a foundation. I've done a teaching on that. Definitely check that video out. But it's similar in the sense that it's to say, this is mine. And they might not necessarily, come and like in that movie Paranormal Activity, they may not come and take advantage of you the same day that they mark you. But it's a way, just like an animal would, to come back around when they're ready, to come and afflict you or attack you or even sacrifice you in some ways. Right? They'll mark their territory. They'll mark you so that they can initiate you, mark you to create an unnatural, like, attraction or whatever it was. Like how we saw with Pepe Le Pew. She was not, that's why the cat was always running from him, because she wasn't actually attracted to him. It was just that he saw something on her, and it wanted him. It's like, it creates like a, how would you say, like a compulsion, right? Like it creates a compulsion where like you're drawn to that other person, like a spell. And that's how it was. And he was just drawn to her, and she's like, yeah. That's the power of markings. It's something that, I also, part of my healing came when I began to understand marks and understand markings and understand that there are certain patterns that happen that aren't normal. And a part of my healing came when I began to analyze those patterns. A part of my healing came when I began to pray about them. A part of my healing came when I began to understand that these patterns are because there is some form of like a mark that is saying, at this time, in this place, in this situation, this is what, this is it. Or, even the mark, even like in the Terminator, the mark that she had would cause her to go in certain places and be around certain people, right? And that's why it was important to have John Connor there with her, because, the mark even drew him to her, right? This is the power of markings. And my encouragement for you today, really, again, I've shared with you how I've kind of gone through it with regards to marking, and I still deal with it. I still, go to God about it. And I encourage you to do the same today, and really just go to God and ask God, if there's any like sort of marking. It could be a mark from my foundation. It could be a mark from my own sin. It could be a mark, maybe, in that movie Paranormal Activity, it wasn't that Hector did anything wrong. He was a kid himself, right? He was probably under like 20 or something like that. But someone can just do it to you. They can it's like almost like a spell or a charm or whatever, and they'll just put that mark on you because they don't like you. It's that simple. They may not necessarily, there's nothing that you have that they want. They're just gonna mark you so that they can, chase you around like Pepe Le Pew or something, right? Go to God and ask Him. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal it to you, and reveal if you have that similar kind of like mark on your life, or on your existence, regardless of where. Ask the Lord to show you, and ask Him for deliverance, because you know what, even in the Bible, when we read about Cain, and even despite what he did to his brother Abel, when he prayed and he asked God for mercy, God showed him mercy, and Cain went on to live his life. It's not as if God struck him down right there. No, he went on to live his life. And so my encouragement is for you to really just, ask God for forgiveness. Don't be intimidated by the mark, because we do know that, according to Colossians 2:15, that through the nailing on the cross, Jesus spoiled every principality, power, and ruler of darkness. We know we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but we also know that we have the victory. And so I encourage you today to really go to God. Whether you know you have a mark, you suspect you do, or maybe you're not sure. Maybe this is the first time, you're hearing about it, which I'm glad to. If you haven't heard about it, check out some other videos, especially my video on foundations and altars, all these new age, others, things. Check out those videos and stay connected. I encourage you to really, seek God. Look into the scriptures. And also now I encourage you also check out that on YouTube, Pepe Le Pew and his little girlfriend, because that girlfriend, she's not a skunk. It was the mark. It was the mark. People of God, I thank you for joining me. And as always, stay connected. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And above all else, I do pray that the Lord keeps you in His perfect peace and love.